Hello viewers, and a very warm welcome to another episode. An episode I'm quite nervous about making actually. In fact, I've not been this nervous about making a video since I made my first ever video back in October 2020 when I first started doing YouTube videos. Just recently something captured my eye on eBay, as it often does. For any of you that watch me regularly, you'll know that I buy quite a lot of second-hand bits and some people call junk off of eBay that usually needs fixing up one way or another. Sometimes I'm successful in my repairs, sometimes I'm not. I always try and share my experiences with everybody, and hopefully I can help a few people along the way. But on this occasion, I think I may have outdone myself and bought something that may not even be repairable. I'm hoping the wider community, the retro computer community, will be able to offer some assistance and advice on this actually. Some of you have already seen this, what I'm about to unveil, in the past already, or recently shall I say, on eBay, because it has actually been shared by some people on various computer groups in the community, and it's generated quite a bit of interest. So before I unveil it, I have got an unboxing video of it, which I did yesterday. I was very excited when it came, looking at it through rose-tinted spectacles, I suspect. Today's the next day. I've had a chance to sleep on it. It's now hit me what I've actually done and what I've bought, and the long road ahead of me. So let's take a quick look at that unboxing video from yesterday. Okay, so the Commodore PET has finally arrived. We've all seen the pictures. Now let's see what it looks like in the flesh. I think it's going to be a real eye-opener, so let's get started. Certainly a very big box. That's a lot of packing. Getting there. Certainly packed it well. Not that it could really get any more damage.
You can see it a little bit now, I think.
Yeah. Frame. Bezel. Yeah. The crossed bezel. Oof. Oh dear. And there it is in the bottom there. Lift it out, pop it down there a second. It's actually smaller than I imagined it to be. The box is really oversized, not a loose screw. Look at that. And there it is. God. Certainly got my work cut out for me, haven't I? Right then, let's have a look inside. I don't know what that is. Must be some shoes. Wow. That's certainly been battered. Looks like someone's thrown it down a flight of stairs, isn't it? Have a quick look over here. Yeah, it screws. Oh, that must be off the, yeah. So, now you know what it is, let's unveil it. And there it is. The thing that many of us have been looking at on eBay just recently. And what an absolute state it's in. I'll take you around in a moment and do some close-ups and show you how badly damaged it is. I'll try and talk about the positives first. The motherboard actually looks okay. I can't see any cracks in it, but to be quite honest with you, the traces are that thick on these Commodore PETs, you could probably operate on it at candlelight, because they're that easy to see. Now, I've never had a Commodore PET before. This is the first time I've ever had one. I've always wanted one. I've always wanted the Blue Label machine, the 8K version, and as you all know, they can fetch quite a hefty price these days on eBay. A price that I couldn't warrant paying, to be quite honest, for something just to sit in the corner and be switched on 2 or 3 times a year, because that's probably as often as I would use it. So when this came along and I saw this, I thought to myself, well, it's a fixer-upper. I like spending a lot of time on projects, and I like repairing things, and this does need just about absolutely everything doing to it. As you can see, it's absolutely battered. It looks like it's been in a crusher. In fact, I've spoke to the seller about it. He didn't really know much about its history, except that he rescued it. I think he said he found it in a warehouse. But we both think that it's been in a crusher, basically rescued out of a crusher. If you've owned a Commodore PET, you'll know just how thick the casings are on these things. I didn't measure it actually. I should have measured it before I started recording. It looks at least 2.5 millimeters thick, the steel casing. So to crush something like this will take quite a lot of force. In fact, the first thing that sprung to mind when I saw it was the episode of Knight Rider, when Kit gets thrown in the acid bath. And the next thing that sprung to mind was the Tonka toy advert, when you see the actual big dirt mover truck go off the edge of a cliff, and then they do the Tonka toy. Because that's exactly what this looks like. It looks like it's been thrown off of a cliff. And it's really sad to see such an iconic computer like this, actually. In fact, it made me quite upset when I first saw it. First thing I thought was, who on earth would do something like this to such an iconic machine? Obviously it was somebody who didn't know what it was or what it's worth. Saying that, it takes me back to my childhood, back in the 80s, going around exploring blocks of flats and things, and you would see CRT sets or wooden box TVs smashed up near the bins. That's basically what's happened to this, I think. Someone's either vandalised it, or it really has come out of a crusher. So, like I say, the positive things about it: the motherboard looks intact. It has a full complement of ROM chips. All the memory chips are there. I think that's about the only thing actually that looks okay. The tape deck is cracked underneath, and there's a piece of plastic missing from it. The keys do actually operate, but obviously I've not tried running anything through it, because obviously I can't power it up. The transformer sadly has been damaged. The windings on the primary side, the input side, where the case has been crushed, they've cut through the windings. Now these transformers are quite simple, so I could, I suppose, unwind those windings. The ones that have been grazed, I could heat shrink them, and then I could rejoin the windings where they're damaged, so that would probably take care of that. The next thing, the most obvious thing, is the CRT is missing. All I've got left is the yoke. In fact, there's only one little piece of glass in there somewhere. I'll show that in a second. That's attached to the actual suction cup for the high voltage lead. That's there. The PCB for the CRT had just one cracked corner. The focusing knob, or the brightness knob on the back, has been jarred off slightly, so it's actually been pulled out of the circuit board. Unfortunately, the flyback transformer has been destroyed. That little thing I pulled out of the bag when I was doing the unboxing, it turns out that was the part of the magnet, or the graphite core rather, that comes along with the flyback transformer. So that's had it. So potentially we could be looking at a new complete PCB, because trying to find that flyback transformer on its own is probably going to be a nightmare, along with the tube actually. So what are my plans with this? Well, I've been thinking about it, and I think the best thing to do is break this down in subsections. If I do attempt to repair it, the first thing I'm going to do, well, I say if I do, I am going to attempt it. Let's face it, I've bought it with the intention of trying to repair it. I think the biggest challenge is getting the case reformed back into its original shape. Now, I don't have access to any hydraulic tools or a machine shop. I only have hand tools. I've already started buying a couple of panel beating tools, a panel beating hammer, a dolly, to start off with. I shall probably break it all down into its sections. I'm going to start on the base first and see how I get on with that. Because if I can't reform the case, then it's going to be a case of trying to salvage the board out of it and putting that into another machine. But we'll have to wait and see. What else was I going to say about it? I think it's had a modification done to it during its life. There's a little BNC connector on the back. I'll do a close-up of that. Some of you out there may know what that's for. First thing that sprung to mind was like an Ethernet connector, but I don't know if that's possible with the circuitry that's there because it's so limited. What else was I going to say about it? Yeah, so once I've attempted beating the case back into its original shape, which I'm hoping I can do, I think once I've done that, it'll start taking form again. It's going to need a little bit of welding doing because some of these spot welds that hold the frame in place, so the CRT frame are broken off, and there's some tearing on that side there. I've been given a welder by a friend. He's given me an arc welder, which I've never used before, so that'll be a learning curve. If I decide to go down that road, I may just tackle that bit a different way. I may just nut and bolt it instead. Obviously it's missing the bezel as well, the blue bezel, if that's what it had, which I think it would have done. It's a shame the person that picked this up didn't think to pick that up if it was around, but no doubt it probably would have been smashed into a million pieces anyway. The keyboard, somehow it's not been pushed through. It looks like it's had some pressure applied to it. A couple of the keys are stuck down, and it looks like it's had paint on it, emulsion paint. So some of the keys are staying down probably because of that. Obviously there's two missing. Some of them are quite worn. The PET logo itself, which I'm glad is still attached, which surprises me actually, it's had a sticker applied to the far right side, and it looks like I'll be able to get that residue off to reveal the badge. So yes, that's the first thing I'm going to be tackling is the metalwork, I think, once I've gutted it or taken everything to pieces, and then we'll take it from there. I suppose the next thing to do is get this video uploaded and see what all your thoughts are on it. I'm sure some of you will have some very interesting things to say about it. By all means, if anybody does have any suggestions about what I can do to this, where to start, please let me know in the comments. I know I'm going to get a lot of ribbing about it, but that doesn't bother me. The way I look at it is I've rescued this from a certain death, because it would have ended up probably going to landfill or recycling eventually. One of the comments I did notice on Facebook actually, somebody said about leaving it as it is, because it is an art piece really to look at it like this. No amount of use could make it look like this, could it? Let's face it. To make something look like this would be horrific, if you know what it is. None of us in the community would do something like this to a computer, although we've all thought about it with our PCs, haven't we, over the years when we've got frustrated with them. And here's the memory section. The IC date code is 1578, so it's week 15 of 1978. There are some different week numbers on some of those ICs. But interestingly, this has some white ROMs, which I've not seen before in many pictures I've looked at of the Commodore PET when I do a Google search. They seem to be quite a rarity. Correct me if I'm wrong, obviously. You can just about make out the moss writing underneath the corroded metal plate that's covering up the UV window of the IC of the ROM itself. There's the processor and the video RAM, which is the same obviously as the memory itself. I'm told these ICs are quite hard to get hold of now, though there is somebody on eBay currently selling them. £15 each though. Some of the legs are quite corroded on some of these ICs. Obviously I'll find out more about how much corrosion there actually is when I give it a good clean. But overall the board looks pretty much okay, quite surprisingly. I was quite worried that it might have a crack in it somewhere. I do plan on keeping this computer. I have no plans on selling it once it's been repaired and fixed up. As I said at the beginning, I've always wanted a Commodore PET, so this will be a keeper for me. And with the amount of time and energy I'm going to invest in this, it's certainly something I wouldn't want to get rid of. And there's the bottom of the tape deck. Piece of plastic missing off the side there, unfortunately. Also thought it was peculiar how they cut off a corner on some of these. I guess it was to get clearance from the heat sinks. Just an off-the-shelf tape recorder, I understand. And then we have the bottom of the keyboard, which again surprisingly doesn't look too bad. The screw heads are rusted, bit of a graze there. But other than that, it doesn't look too bad at all. So there we have it, that's the close-ups of it. What are your thoughts on this? I'd love to hear them in the comments. Good or bad, I don't mind. As I've mentioned before, it's already been out there on Facebook, shared by various people. It's generated quite a bit of interest. I've got quite a lot of work on my hands, haven't I, going forward. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to start off on the case first and see if I can do anything with that. I am already in talks with somebody I found on eBay who's going to look for a CRT for me, amongst other bits for it. I think I mentioned about the CRT motherboard, that was it. Because it would be interesting to see if the actual motherboard powers up once I sort that transformer out. In fact, it might just be as easy to buy another transformer, because I don't know if I'd ever completely trust it once it's been repaired. I don't know what else to say about it for the time being, to be quite honest, except watch this space. As time goes on, I'll upload videos of its progress. Like I said, I'll start off with the base and see how I get on with that first. It's quite a thick, heavy steel, so I'll probably end up trying to anneal it first with a blowtorch, just to make it a bit more malleable, and see if it will bend back into its original shape. Well, I guess that's just about it for this video. I hope you enjoy watching it. Now you all know who owns this computer. Until next time, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you. And if you did enjoy watching this video, you may want to take a look at some of my other videos on similar themes. I'm always buying something on eBay, some more piece of technology, and trying to repair it. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thanks for watching.